All right, hello, how's it going? Welcome to Social Media Fridays. I have a very special guest today that's going to be joining me. Her name is Becky, and she's a nutrition expert, and she's also a Reiki practitioner and a physical trainer. So I'm so excited that she's going to join us. And today's topic is going to be on being your authentic self. So I'm really excited for that topic. And that was something that was voted on. We had a vote on our group in the Kind Human Tribe. And that's what we had the majority of the vote. So if you guys want to vote, you can leave in the comments below or wherever you'd like to for any new topics as we continue doing this every single Friday. So Becky, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then also why is social media so important to you and like spreading your message and spreading your passions?
Yay, yes. Thank you so much for having me on. I love sharing. So a little bit about me. I love helping people. My journey in wellness began with losing my dad suddenly almost 7 years ago. And he was the most amazing, loving, happy person, but he didn't care for his health. So that made me want to just learn as much as I possibly could about health so I could help other people be with their loved ones longer than I was with mine. So that started at first with personal training and then nutrition specialist, yoga teacher, massage therapy, Reiki, inner child healing, all that. Basically, my purpose is just I want to help as many people as I can. And what I've learned, like in terms of social media, is that how I can really reach the most amount of people is just by being my most vulnerable self and showing up in that way. And I'm so okay with it. Like I'm so okay with being uncomfortable showing that vulnerability, because I know that if it just helps one person, then it was worth it for me. So I choose to authentically show up on social media for like connection, like especially right now when there's not a lot of connection. This is the way that we have the opportunity to do that and to help people not feel alone. And so that's why it's so important. I grew up being bullied a lot and feeling alone. And that's a really important thing for me to continue on with my path, is just making sure people don't feel alone in their pain.
Yeah, that's a really powerful story. And I feel like that resonates really deep with me, and I'm sure a lot of people as well, because I lost my dad about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And that is also what was like a wake up call for me that transitioned my life into like kind of going like autopilot, like standard American, and doing kind of like what you might expect, into really changing everything about my life and completely asking so many questions and diving deep into health, as well. So it's a really, really interesting, similar journey. So great. I'm so glad to have you, and I'm so glad for you to share your experiences with us. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about being our authentic self, right? I want to start off with you as the guest. What kind of tips do you have for maybe being your authentic self online in the social media presence? Because some people struggle being their authentic self even in person, like on a one-on-one or a group setting, but online it could be even harder. And I know myself, I struggle with this. And even doing research into this topic, like the notes that I have into this, really was like a wake up, in a way, a learning for me, really learning. They say that one of the best ways to learn something is to go teach it. So we're teaching about authenticity, and I was learning so much just doing the research on it. And so I would like to have you start off with a tip about being authentic in the social media kind of landscape.
Yay. Okay. Yes, for sure. First thing I want to say is that what you want to remind yourself of is that you can't be for everyone. Okay. Like that's why we're all different, like you really can't be for everyone. So like to let go of that fear that someone's not going to like what you're saying or what you're believing in, like that's gonna be like, that's why the world is so beautiful, because we're all so different, right? But we're showing up for the people that do resonate with us, so if you're going into any like live or any speech or anything that you're sharing online, you want to go into it with love, like knowing that you want to connect with the people that are going to resonate with you. And when you're in fear, right, you're going to attract that. And when I first started, I had a lot of that fear because it was new to me. Like I started like about 7 years ago, showing up online and you know, speaking my truth. And I had fear at the time, and so I would attract the people that were gonna like at me, you know. And like I had to go through that experience, and it's fine. Like it made me stronger. And but like slowly, like as I've like evolved within getting to know myself, and that's another aspect that I would talk about, that I would like to address in terms of showing up authentically, is like you really do need to get to know yourself, right? And a lot of the times you get to know yourself through the pain. Well, most of the time, if you choose to alchemize your pain into light, then you learn so much from those painful experiences. So be okay with not being for everyone. Be okay with not being liked. And that can be really hard for people who are like me growing up, like as a codependent, right? Like feeling like I need to have validation from other people to feel good within myself. So and how to get there is to spend that time getting to know yourself. I like promote, like I do like inner child healing, and I coach people to really witness themselves and to get to know themselves through journaling, through saying it out loud, you know, getting witnessed by other people and that are close to them, and you know, really celebrating yourself. And that's something that it can be really hard for people, because we almost are afraid to celebrate ourselves because we think that it's ego, when it's not. It's like your awareness, like, yes, celebrate yourself. Like we got so used to celebrating ourselves based on like academics, that like when we celebrate ourselves when it has to do with something that wasn't like taught in school, it's almost like we're just being an ego. But no, you know, like the things that like I'm good at are like empathy, like intuitive things that was not really like celebrated in school. But now, because I've given myself that love, I acknowledge that within myself and I celebrate it. And then I'm better able to then attract that type of loving recognition when I show up authentically, because I'm so happy with who I am. And I've kind of like gotten out of that stigma that that's like my ego. Instead, I share with people, I'm like, it's not my ego, it's my awareness. And I believe that. And I tell people, I believe that you are all magic. It's just the fear and the conditioning that is just blocking it. So yes, so like doing the inner work, which will lead to not caring what people think. So yeah, those would be like the first two things that I would share about how to really, how to show up authentically in that way.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. And I just saw a quote today that was very similar to what you're saying. It was like, the world is already like hard enough on us already. Like, why be even harder on ourselves? You know what I mean? Which is kind of where that inner work comes from, as well, where it's so important, because we're already bombarded with so much stuff that's really, really, really hard on us, and incredibly damaging. And I would like to add to what you were saying, because I have a similar tip. So I might as well throw mine out there, since it's similar. Is I wrote down, one tip is to expect to meet resistance, right? When you're being yourself, when you're truly being yourself. So some are going to be really uncomfortable, you know, and you might get hate, and you might make people feel uncomfortable, and that might make you think like, man, am I doing the wrong thing? Like, am I the wrong person? Am I the bad person? Because you're gonna make it feel like that. Like, people are gonna make you feel like that, and it's gonna feel uncomfortable. And for me, my big experience on dealing with hate is, like a lot of us, is maybe even going vegan, and that time that a lot of us had gone vegan, and receiving hate during that, you know. And I was really passionate about it at one point, and I was really, really out there at one point, and I was receiving a lot of hate. But what I learned through that is exactly what you said in the beginning, Becky, is learning how to be compassionate and have empathy towards your haters. You know what I mean? And that's what people don't really think about, is because if someone is going to take the time out of their day, they're going to take, a few seconds, a minute, whatever time out of the day, and put hate onto what you're doing, especially when you know it's good, especially when you know it comes from the heart, especially when you know that it's positive and it's a positive message, and they're going to take time to hate on that, right? That person is probably in a very dark place. And so what they need is some compassionate empathy. They need some help. They need someone maybe to talk to, right? Because they might be going through some kind of, their parents might be going through a divorce. They might be going through a huge breakup. They might have be sexually abused. They might have any other kind of abuse, mental abuse. Who knows what's going on in this person's life, right? For them to take the time to put hate when someone's doing something good, right? So that's going to happen. And then also, you may be resistant. So not only will you get resistance for being yourself, you might put resistance on yourself, where you're adding resistance to yourself and stopping yourself from being who you really are. And we all probably experienced that at one time or another. And so that could be something that could really be slowing you down. So thinking about like where you were talking about, Becky, is that mindset and working on that inner, because there's so many times where you're the one that's stopping you. It's not even the outside world. You haven't even gotten to show who you are, to give them the opportunity to say I approve or disapprove, because you haven't even gotten to that point, right? So this what this is going to do, which is what you were saying, is this is going to attract your tribe, right? So when you're trying to stay in your lane and be who you are, and show your passions, and you're going to attract your tribe. You're going to attract who is resonates with you. You're going to attract, like is going to attract like, right? And then also, if you
Right.
are getting haters, that's a sign of a good thing, by the way. That means you're probably doing something right. If you know deep down in your heart what I'm doing is right, what I'm doing is the right thing, and this is a good thing, and you're getting haters, then you're on the right track. That means that you're doing something good, like for real. And so you should applaud yourself if you're getting hate, if especially if what your message is positive and compassionate and empathetic, then absolutely. All right, so yeah, so that's my addition to your tip.
Yeah.
You have
Love
another
it.
one?
Me, another one?
Yeah. Mhm.
Another one. Yeah, I just wanted to like add to that about like the hate part, because like I
Okay.
that happened to me this week, and someone really like, it was just so much, and I like that. So it's important to like, you have an emotional response, but just take a second and like let the emotion pass, and then like respond rather than react, and I took a moment, like you said, like they are going through their own things for whatever it is, and I just, instead of arguing back, I did exactly what I believe in, and I told them, like, they were having judgment about something that somebody else was doing within my videos that is not even something that I was doing. And I was like, I told them, like, look, like, I am unconditional love. I don't judge other people. That's not something that I would do, but you know, like they only operate out of their level of awareness. And like, I'm not judging them, because I believe that we're all God or source consciousness, whatever you want to say, like we're all that. So me judging that person is me judging the creator and judging at the same time myself. So it's just about like practicing that. I'm like, I'm unconditional love. I'm non-judgment. We're not here to do that. We're here to practice forgiveness, unconditional love, and be of service to others. So I just reiterated that's what I'm doing every day. So I'm sorry, I don't operate within the reality where there is judgment. And I just said, thank you for your opinion, but I just don't operate there. And it
Yeah,
just cut it out.
that's
And it just
great.
like, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good tip on like things to say. You know what I mean? It's like it's okay. How do you respond? And some people say I don't respond. Whatever, or like you can find creative ways to respond. To it. So that's great. So I want to bring up another topic. When you're thinking about your social media, think about like that's your community. So like that's your tribe. Like that's almost like a group. Like we have Facebook groups. That's like your group. Like your Instagram or your Facebook or your TikTok is your group, right? That's your tribe. And so who are you attracting? So you want to think about this when you're thinking about like being authentic. Try to serve your community. Try to think about through heart, right? Come from a heart. Okay. Try to have integrity and try to be transparent when you're sharing your authentic self on your social media platforms. That's kind of like the mentality, right? And there's a rule that I found recently. It's called the 80-20 rule for social media and building your community. So spend 80% of your time serving your community. And what does that mean? That means listening to them, right? Reading the comments, listening to what they're saying. What are they actually saying? What are they talking about? Asking questions, right? To understand, what's going on, helping them, offering assistance and what they need, right? Understanding their needs. What are their needs? Are you asking their needs, right? And then being generous with your time, right? Those are ways that you're going to build, like a community, and you spend 80% of your time doing this. And then from the business standpoint, right? We're talking about business, right? Spend 20% of the time making the ask, right? So that might be inviting them to a webinar. That might be inviting them to a meeting. That might be inviting them to watch a video. That might be inviting them to take a look at a website. That might be, maybe you're offering, some nutrition course. Maybe you're offering a different course. Maybe you have a book that you're offering. Whatever it is, 20% of the time would be making the ask. So that's a good rule, because sometimes what can be really off-putting by some people is asking all the time, right from the beginning. And some people do that in their business, and then it can be really tough actually actually making making money, because they're going to just feel like you're being inauthentic and all you're looking for is just how to make a quick
Yeah.
buck, right? Versus like how to connect with them
Yeah.
and serve them. And it's going to be, when you do ask, they'll be like, well, yeah, they were so giving and so forthright that absolutely I'm going to take care of them, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about, like, I would say, a mentality state. And then I'll give another tip. So about authenticity. So authenticity is a process, right? So that's a tip in itself. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take some practice, and it'll improve over time, right? This might not be something that's going to happen overnight, because it depends on where you're at. Even for me, when I think about, I mean, my personal experience, I've changed, my personal brand, if you will, several times online. So building where I am right now is going to take some time, and I know that. So it's just like anything. If I were to start a brand new social media account, I know it's going to take time. I'm not going to be, what my Instagram was or what my TikTok is or whatever. It's not going to happen overnight. This takes a little bit of time. So the other thing that you can do about being the process is talk about your passions, talk about your business, talk about what you care about, talk about why you love what you do, talk about why you love whatever business that you're doing, talk about why you love whatever products you're offering, right? Or talk
Yeah.
about how and who you're serving. What kind of people are you helping? What kind of people are you looking for to
Yeah.
help? And so also talk from the heart of the business. So what is the core of the business? If you have a business that you center around, what's the core and what's the heart of that business? And can you share that message? Does that business have a message? So I think that those are some ways that you could be authentic, and that's going to be a process. So
Yeah, I so resonate with that. I really resonate with I believe you do need to give free. I've given so much, free coaching, like especially at the beginning. Like as you become an entrepreneur, you think like, I mean, like my at the beginning, I thought like, oh, everyone's just gonna see that I'm doing this now, and they're gonna want to come to me. It's like, no, no, no. Like you have to do some of the things for free. You have, especially online. There's so much, you will gain so much more from giving, and like, again, if you come from a heart space, that it always comes back, and it's not about being, that's a big part of it too, not being attached to the outcome. So if what you're doing always comes from your why and comes from your heart, you can detach from the outcome, and you will gain so much more from it. People want that free added value. And even like in groups, or that I would organize, I would give like free, let's say anything that I have that's in like my arsenal, like meditation or yoga, like, any of that, I will give that for free. Because, sometimes it's a new lifestyle that we're sharing, that we're offering. Some people are so curious, but they don't even know where to start. So why not give them all these little like windows into different ways that they can explore like what wellness means? And yeah, I really, I really resonate with that, and really think it's so important to give things for free and without like the expectation of getting anything in return, but with just the intention. Oh, because I know that everybody that's within what we're doing is doing this because they want to help people feel better and do better. So that's going to happen. You give for free, then they have this open-hearted feeling, and they're like, okay, like this is a different type of way of experiencing life. It's not just about, like you said, you're not just asking for things, you're giving first, and then there's so much, they're more open to receiving your message once you've already given.
yeah, exactly, absolutely. And it always comes back. It's the more you give, the more you receive, and it's just so true. And I've been trying to do my very best, on the social medias to give. I try to give advice. I try to make like it easy to read, like whether it's a header and it has like some subtitles, and try to make it, more digestible, and try to give it with some value,
Yeah.
at the best that I can. And sometimes I get away from that, and I have to remind myself, what value is this providing, for the people that are following me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe a
Yeah.
picture on the beach, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I'm like, is this even providing value? You know what I mean? Like, what value is this providing? You know?
But to me,
And
it's the
so,
caption below it. Like, you
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean? Like it
exactly.
could be a
Yeah,
picture,
exactly. Mm-hmm.
and it's like, you know what I mean? It's at
Mm-hmm.
some point too, like we have to realize that we like live in a society that like doesn't have the longest attention span, but they do, but like in everybody loves the notion of beauty. You know what I mean? It's just like what is captivating to the eye. So you see a beautiful picture, like sometimes, like when we're so aware that there's so much more than what you see on the outside, sometimes we feel inauthentic by posting that. But the thing is that we're just trying to reach as many people as we can. And like to do that, sometimes you post that because it draws them in, and then you show all the other like knowledge and things like that. Like that was something that like I really struggled with, because like it's almost like I thought like I either had to be like, as like a woman, I was either had to show that I was smart or I was going to be pretty. Like which one was it going to be? And like there's a lot of like there was a time where like I wouldn't even wear makeup. Like I'm just wouldn't dress up. I would just be like, no, like I just want you to see that I have like something to say and something to share. But the thing is, and that wasn't me authentically showing up, because I still like, it's just a way to express creativity, and like whether it's like what I look like or if it's a pretty picture, I'm just also playing into the notion that, people, that's authentic to me. And if it's a pretty picture and I like the picture that I posted, even if it's just a scenery, then I believe that people will feel that, and that they'll feel that the right ones will be attracted to that picture, and then look at the added value that is there, that is underneath there. And so I think it's like a little bit of like the psychology aspect of it, and like getting out of our own way and thinking that we're like, if you're coming from a heart space, don't worry about that, of people judging that you posted a pretty picture of whatever scenery or of you. If you give added value in the comments, like it's worth a lot. Like to me, like I believe that it's worth a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So my next tip is authenticity. It means growth, right? So as you're being authentic, you're going to continue to grow, right? So like Becky was saying, when she was going through her moment of growth, she was learning yoga and Reiki and nutrition, all these sort of things. It was like she's trying to be herself, but it means growth. So in order to grow, you have to get you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes we get really like in this bubble, and I didn't really want to. I was afraid to like change because I was so comfortable. I've been in my job for 15 years in the restaurant industry, and I knew it like the back of my hand. And I was like, oh well, I don't want to do something different because that means I'm going to be uncomfortable and I'll look stupid. And I was really worried. You know what I mean? And so I had to get out of my comfort zone in order to start growing, right? Because I was just going to be, if you're comfortable, you're probably not growing, right? And then getting really, another thing that's going to happen when you're authentic, you get really clear about your vision. So you're going to get really, really clear about whatever vision that you have, for yourself, or for what impact that you want to make on this world, right? So many of us, especially the people listening, you're fighting to make the world a better place. And I believe that. And so how clear is your vision on getting to that place? And how clear is that vision, for yourself, for your family, whatever goals that you have? Being authentic is getting really, really clear on your vision and just saying, you know what, nothing's going to slow me down because I have a goal and a passion and a vision and a drive that's not going to slow me down. And then the other thing is that you're as you grow, like especially social media and growing. And if you're doing business there, you're going to need to embrace all kinds of different things, that are the different skills that people do, like entrepreneurs do, like, or business people do, like your own marketing, doing your own marketing, or accepting commerce, increasing your commerce, or doing all the little, answering emails, or doing all the little things, that like maybe aren't as fun or aren't as glamorous, but you're going to embrace those things because say, this is part of the vision. This is part of what's going to take me to get where I need to get to. And sometimes people fall there. So they're like, yeah, I have this vision. I have this clear path. I got out of my comfort zone, but I don't want to do this other crap that they didn't talk about that's not as fun. You got to do some of those things that aren't as fun. You know what I mean? And in order to push past, to get to your goal or whatever your vision is. So yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes. Oh my goodness. Like everything that you said. Like I used to be so afraid of change, like anything change. Like as a child, like if somebody was like changed a plan, I would cry. Like I had so much comfort in like consistency, and that stopped me from growing so much, and being like, oh, now embracing that change, like embracing change. It's the opposite, not even embracing change, run towards the change. And like, for instance, like you said, within your business as an entrepreneur, yeah, you have to learn a variety of tools. Like I blocked myself for so long. So I'm like, oh, I don't know how to like edit a video, or I don't know how to make a good post like that. And I'm like, I'll just wait till like I have enough money that I could like pay somebody to do it for me. And then like I just stopped. And then I'm like, no, like, I'm just gonna try. Like I had a friend, I met a friend who was so good at making things. And I'm like, okay, I could have exchanged with her. I could have been like, oh, I give you a massage and you can, can I do massage therapy too? I give you a massage and you could do this Canva post for me. I'm like, no, please teach me. I'm like, please teach me, like, or let me watch you make one and let me see how your eye picks that up. Cause, like, you can't be good at everything, but you can try and you can learn. You don't have to be the best, but if it comes from that intention of wanting to learn, it will do. Like, and now sometimes I make things and I'm like, oh, I did that. Like, oh my God, I did that myself. And, you have even more confidence and like, you just keep gaining more knowledge, more awareness, and that you get to then pour into your business. And then when you work, as we do, like for ourselves, but not by ourselves, then we also we develop these tools to then share and pass on to other people. And especially when we work within a community that's just wanting to make the world better. It's just, you're not just learning for you, you're learning for all like the other Earth First warriors that are here wanting to make that positive impact too. So yeah. And I take that, that's another thing that I think about a lot, is that I have to share what is like, I have to share my message, because I have this knowledge and this awareness that everybody has different knowledge and awareness, and some people need to hear it. So sometimes like guilt isn't good, but sometimes I would like kind of like tell myself, like, if you need to share this, Becky, like this has to be shared. Like, you don't know who you're not helping by not sharing that and feeling uncomfortable but let yourself feel uncomfortable and let yourself have the opportunity to be, hurt, by other people's opinions of not liking it or for whatever reason, because again, there's going to be that one person that you made that huge impact on. So get outside the comfort zone. And because like you said, there's no growth in it's staying inside your lane. Like, you know what I mean? Like not growing, not getting uncomfortable to gain, you'll just stay exactly where you are. And I had the opportunity from having like a really, crazy situation happened to me, and I could have been like, oh, why me? Like, I ended a 7-year relationship that I moved to Costa Rica to start a different life, and then I witnessed somebody be so the opposite of what I believed they were to be, and I moved. I literally I moved back. I changed. I restarted all over, and I could have been like, "Why me? Why me?" I'm like, "No, thank you. Like this happened so that I can grow, and like I need to go through this right now so that I can. I'm like, this is happening to me so that I can help other people go through that type of situation. And I could have just stayed small and been like, "Why me?" And then just, but I'm like, no. I'm going to get uncomfortable. I'm going to figure out why this is happening. And then I'm going to share it with other people. And like, that's another part for me about being authentic online. Like I literally share everything that I'm going through because again, it not just draws people to you because you're being authentic, but it inspires them to also live in their own authenticity. Like you become an example for them because, I'm so grateful that I've had that feedback. People have shared with me, like, I can't believe that you did that. And then you posted it online. I'm like, yep. Yep. Like, why not? Like, what is someone's like a judgment of me really going to do to me in the long run? And either way, when someone judges you, they're judging something within them. Just like, we all do as we go through our healing journey. So I just say, let's do it. Let's just, and exactly, we have a community that even if you get judged online, you could still come here to these types of calls that we do and you get met with love. So I think we're at the best possible position to get uncomfortable because we get to come home to like this like virtual family that just will hold space for you, which for me didn't exist for so long. Well, because I was like, when I became healthier and became an entrepreneur, all the people in my life judged me. When I would make a video, oh, Becky has to do this. Oh, Becky's making a video. Oh, this. And I was just like, it weighed me down. And instead of like stopping, I just let those friends go. Those were lifelong friends that I have that I no longer have in my life, but by letting them go, because like, the law of attraction is directly related to this law of subtraction. And by letting go of those friends, I actually now have like where I am with this farm right now, I have all these amazing people, men and women who are just so like will witness me doing my own thing. Like they're so happy. Yes. Yeah. I'm going to do a call and they're like, that's amazing. Like, yes, go do that. And so, yeah. So be okay with showing up as your authentic self and be okay with losing those people in your life because the right people will come to you just like our community is.
Yeah, absolutely. That was so wonderful and so well said. And I personally believe that like the people with the most trauma or been the most uncomfortable or gone through the hardest time, they have the most to give back. They have the most value to give because they're going to resonate and connect with so many more people because this world is a dark place. And so many of the people that are suffering are the majority. the majority of the world is suffering. So if we've gone through some suffering, then we could speak to the majority. It's those at the those at the top they can't resonate, they can't connect because they haven't even gone through suffering. They've had everything maybe potentially handed to them. You know what I mean? And so they didn't have to go through any kind of trauma or really hard time. So those that have, like, that's your skill, that's your gift. And then also I can resonate too with learning the skills of like an entrepreneur and a business is like, I knew that I wanted to do something different. I was already checked out at my job, but I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. But I knew I needed to learn these skills, so I was learning like the skills of video editing or podcasting or social media skills on my free time. I would work my 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever, and then I would go and I'd spend 2 hours, working on a new skill, and then I work on another skill, and then I work on another skill until eventually I had more skills than I had before. And so that led to like more opportunities and being able to share my message a little bit more clearly than I would have before. So we have about 5 minutes left, so I want to leave it open for any questions. I'm going to look in the comments real quick and see if there's any questions, and if not, you guys can answer some question or put some questions in the chat below, or you can speak out if you want and ask a question. That's totally open as well. I'm just reading through the comments right now. Yeah, expect to meet resistance. Serve community, come from the heart. 80-20 rules, awesome. Got to do the dishes. Yep. These skills are so helpful in sharing the message from our heart to the world. Okay, nice. Yeah, so does anyone want to, we have Alicia and Ingrid and Chris. You guys have any questions that we can help you with? And anything, if we have 5 minutes, it could be whatever. Doesn't have to be exactly on this topic.
Well, I'll jump in. I just really appreciate hearing all this stuff. Thank you guys so much. And I feel like we're on the leading edge kind of with this. Like, I don't know anyone in my like immediate friends that are really putting themselves out there. So like, I love what you both said about the community, because we've got each other's back. Like, we're encouraging each other, and we're on this leading edge of just like getting out of the comfort zone and sharing all these tools of how to do that. There's no way I would have ever been doing this if it wasn't for the community. Like, no way. Because I mean, this is what the feedback I'm getting from friends and family is like, so what are you doing? Like, what's changed? Because all of a sudden it's like everything's changed. Just the message from my heart being so much clearer. And, Becky, I really love your videos. They're very educational in the morning. And, but then, like, you do show all these other parts of your life too. And I think, leading the journey on how to make that easy and possible. Do you have anything you would like to share of like hardest time? I mean, Taz was kind of the encouraging factor for me. She was like, just like a Band-Aid, rip it off, just do it, just get it live, just do it. But any of like your hardest moments or anything to share with that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, well, at the beginning, like when I first became a personal trainer and just started like posting videos, like this was like almost 7 years ago. Like, it was painful to like think that like the people that I thought loved me like didn't love me unconditionally, you know what I mean? Or like they loved me from the place or in the way that made sense for them. Like, they wanted to keep that opinion of me. They wanted to keep like when you change, like, it causes resistance in people because like they want to maintain the same reality, and you're shifting out of it. So then you're reflecting with them, reflecting within them that they have to shift their reality, and they don't want to do that, So it's like giving yourself so much love. Like, for me, that means spending time alone and journaling, and like I'll go for walks and like talk to myself, talk to the trees, like just let it out. Like, I don't believe in like just pushing things aside. Like, how I coach people is like, if you feel like shit, like you feel it, like whatever you are, angry, sad, allow yourself the space to feel it. Like, it literally, you treat yourself like a child. Like, let most parents, they see their child is crying, they're in public, they care more about what it means for them. So like, shh. So we haven't learned how to self-soothe. We've learned how to make other people comfortable before making ourselves comfortable. So like, let yourself have the emotion. Like, someone's not being nice to you, someone in your family's not witnessing you, go through those feelings. Like, if you don't have someone that will witness you without judgment, journal through it. Talk, speak to you. I speak to myself. I don't care if I look crazy. Like, it's what I got to do. I literally, it's inner child healing, like seeing yourself in that way. That would be really hard. And also like what I just went through. Like was just December where I moved everything and then had to come back here. And like for like months, I would just stare and look at the wall and be like, what is life? But during that time, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to eventually use this. Like, this is going to, like, I had that awareness, like, maybe I'm going to write a book about it. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be something. So what I choose, like how I see alchemy, it's like I said, you feel it, like you allow yourself to feel it. And then you say, like, what is it teaching me? So like, what was that situation teaching me? And that brings me the most amount of like magic is the best thing that I can say, because it automatically shifts the vibration. Like you just like automatically like open yourself up to new opportunities. And instead of like, I no longer see like a block, like let's say someone not acknowledging me or whatever, it's not a block. It's just a redirection. You know, it's not a closed door. It's literally bringing you to where you're meant to be. Like every time that somebody mistreats you or doesn't acknowledge you or whatever it is, like that is literally happening to you on purpose, like completely on purpose, because you're meant to grow and be more than that. And so how I understand the human experience is that you come into this world with the exact opposite intention of your soul's true purpose, so that you could feel so uncomfortable, so that it propels you into being the person that you are meant to be. So whenever you feel uncomfortable, fucking amazing, like good, because that is what that is it. That is that springboard into who you are meant to be. But you have to embrace it. I call it like swamp it out, feel gross, wear a trash bag, dance around your house, whatever you got to do, and then find the lesson. Like that's like, and how I do that is through journaling and meditation. Meditating has totally like changed my life.